everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So welcome to my weekly tutorials. I have the pleasure of being able to walk you through a really fun project every week, and I like to give you all the measurements and stuff so that if you would like, you can craft along with me, or of course you can always come and have your pieces cut at a later time and follow the video to complete the project as well. So just so you know, I did put all of the measurements and the product that we're using, all of the products, in the description on today's video. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And I am delighted to introduce you to today's project. So I love this Seaside Bay suite. We've used it a few times, and I announced last week that it's actually carrying over into the next catalog. That being said, though, the paper is not, and so I'm trying to get all of my crafting out with this by the Bay DSP before May 2nd, because it is gorgeous and it's such a fun package. So I am going to play with that a little bit today. I'm going to show you how to use your bundle, your stamps and dies, and then combine it with some of your designer paper. And of course, if you are watching this after May 2nd and it's retired, then you'll probably just grab some other designer paper and you can still do some sort of fun background for this. So if you are watching live, make sure to say hello, tell me where you're from, and if you have any questions, just give me a shout. Okay, so let's get going. Here's the Seaside Bay stamp set that we're going to use, and there are beautiful coordinating dies as well. This one's really fun. We're not using it today, but I think I've had, here we go. I punched this one out of Blushing Bride, and it has the little embossing on the top of the little lamb, so you could easily substitute that for the open-faced oyster that I'm doing here. So what you need to do to start is grab a card base. I am using Crumb Cake, and this is 5.5 by 8.5. We're scoring down the middle at 4 1/4. So when you fold your card in half, you've got your lovely bone folder. Have a card that opens horizontally. Now on the inside of our cards, we always like to have something to write on. So I'm going to put a piece of basic white inside there. You can use seal, tape, glue, whatever you'd like, but you always do want to have something that's easy to read. On that inside slot. Wonder. I feel like I should stamp something on the inside of this. Here we go. Let's do this little guy here. So I'm using my Crumb Cake ink. I've got my large clam or oyster there. And you might as well just add that to the outside of your project. It just kind of freshens everything up and really ties the card together. Now on the front of our card, we are going to put another piece of basic white. This one measures 4 inches by 5.5. So when you put it on, it actually goes all the way across the card, and all you're leaving is the tiniest little border along the top and along the bottom. And I'm putting this on flat, so some sort of flat adhesive for you. That's giving us this really cool little strip right down the middle of the project. Of course, if you want to use different color combinations, you easily can, especially since this paper package has so many different patterns in it. I'll pull out one that I started on. So this was one other idea. So I'm using Balmy Blue as the base, And then I've got Night of Navy in place of this white sheet here. So that's one other option for you, is you could kind of play with different colors that you find in your set here. All right, now the fun begins. You're going to grab some strips of paper, and these ones are all scraps from cards that I made previously. So if you'll notice, they're actually all the same paper because I needed the rest of the page for something else. So these strips measure 3/4 of an inch wide by 3 3/4 long, and you'll need 7 of them. So if you're kind of uncertain about how these will fit, it's probably a good idea to just start laying them out. They're not all going, you're not going to have a border on the sides, so you will end up trimming some of them off. But I like to just kind of lay this out, see what my spacing looks like, and then I can go from there to attach the pieces. Okay? So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to just put something in place so they don't all go flying. And once you get this first one in place, everything else will be really easy. I guess I do need that tape. So I'm just going to put a couple strips of tape on the back of this piece here, and then go back and put that into my spot. And again, just a reminder that part of it was hanging off the edge, and that's okay because it's not going to be perfectly even. I'm going to need to come back in here and take some out. Okay, so there. I've got one of them in place. It's got a nice little border on the top and the bottom. Now what I can do is I can come in and just put adhesives on all the rest of my strips, so I'm ready to go and put them in place. Even one strip of tape is probably sufficient. There we go. 6 are good to go. Okay. Now, just making sure you've got a little bit of a gap between your two pieces and that nice consistent border on the top and the bottom. Just move left to right, put your strips down. So if you don't have a bunch of scraps like I did, then of course you just take one consistent piece of paper and you can chop it up, and the scene would probably be gorgeous for you to just kind of break it up like we're doing here. There's probably about 1/8 of an inch in between my pieces. I'm not measuring, it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this last one's going to hang off the edge. That's what we wanted. I purposely cut these so it gave you just this really great kind of continuous image. So all I do is I just flip this over. You could grab your trimmer if you really wanted to, but if you use the edge of your cardstock here as your kind of guide to trim, you should be able to just get that into a nice straight line. Be a little sticky, there might be a little tape there. There we go. As long as they're even on the edges, then you'll be even on the front. Now to decorate. So my stylish shapes, yay, they are not disappearing. I took the second largest and I cut out some of the designer series paper from this set, and you could of course choose the other gorgeous side too. I'm going to pop this little one up on dimensionals, then we're going to build a little ocean scene on top of it. I've just kind of put this off to the right hand side, and I guess I'll put it about centered in that space. But of course, you can move it wherever you want. I just figured it's better on this side because I've got my an oyster opening up that way. Now, okay, what have I cut out? I have cut out a large and a small piece of grass in just Jade, a large and a small grass in the gold foil, a small little shell in the gold foil. I've stamped a shell in Night of Navy, and I cut it out using our coordinating dies. Sorry, that's my camera picking on something. Something's tall that it likes. There we go. And then I cut out, or I stamped my little oyster in Crumb Cake. Cut that out as well. So I have all those pieces ready to go. You'll probably have to just hit pause on the video and continue on in a few minutes. But let's start with our grass pieces. Those are going to be the ones that need to go in the back. So we want to kind of give them the most focus right now. So what I'm going to do is I need my Tombow liquid glue, this guy here that's definitely seen better days. And you can start with whichever pieces you like, but I think this tall green one is my focus, and I'm going to set it like kind of right there. Just make sure you've got a space kind of up in the top that you're happy with. And then from there you can add all your other little pieces. So I've got the gold large piece. It's just coming down a little bit. All of these ends are going to be covered up once we start adding our other elements. And then there's this guy too. So I'm pretty happy that side. I think I'm going to wait to add my last grass till I have got other things in place. So my next focus needs to rest on my shell. So I'm popping this up on dimensionals. This is going about center of my circle here, depending on where your grass ends ended up. It's about center, and then from there you can add the other pieces. So we've got that remaining little gold grass going on just with some glue on the bottom of it. You don't need to worry about any of the glue on the grass pieces, just stick some on the very bottom. The grass can kind of flow loosely on its own. This shell, if you want, you can kind of pop it up on a dimensional and it will rest on top of your other shell here, kind of popping it out of your page a little bit more, which is very pretty. And then we've got this little gold shell, which I also wanted to pop up on a dimensional, and he is just getting tucked right in the back here, like that. Now to decorate a little bit more, I thought we would bring in the flat-backed adhesive pearls. I've got the largest one, and of course that will go right in the center, the existing pearl. And then you can decorate with a few of these small ones. So I just added those kind of around this, this gold shell here, about 3 of them. Whatever fits for you. So they can either look like little rocks or pebbles or bubbles. Whatever works for you. Now, I'm quite happy with this, but I figured it needed a sentiment. There are no dies that cut out our sentiments on this stamp. So what I did was I took the sentiment that said, "Thank you for everything." I'm going to stamp it in Night of Navy, just on a scrap piece of paper. And then we're going to fussy cut a little bit. So the key with fussy cutting is you don't need to go, I'm just going to top that so it's a small area. You don't need to go right up to the letters. You just want to go close to them. Kind of cut the shape around them while giving them plenty of space. You don't even have to do much with this bottom row. Just kind of float by. Don't need to get into the little nooks and crannies. It's just a generous white border, basically. And I know there's some people out there who are just gorgeous fussy cutters. I am not one of them. So I just call myself a messy fussy cutter. I'm happy that I've got the basic shape, happy that I've got all the letters without cutting anything off. And then I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals so that it sets really nicely on my card. Oh, thank you for everything. And this one just goes kind of right in the bottom here. Oh, there's your card. So again, easy way to use up scraps. You didn't necessarily have to chop a beautiful piece of designer paper. You just have to kind of use pieces that are left over after you've crafted for a bit. But there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you will join me next Tuesday. If you do enjoy my videos, I would love to invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. It'll give you notifications when I go live. Usually it's every Tuesday at noon, but with the new catalog coming out, there might be some extra surprise videos here or there as I do an unboxing or just a little show and share for something. But I'm looking forward to crafting with you guys again next week. I will see you soon. Bye.